Motherfucker. They cut it. I don't know. This is the second time in a week. Let me get them. Let me get them back in.
Was that me?
No, it's the second time in a week. They like the last time they stopped my software to update midstream. This time it just cut out. I have no idea.
That was so weird.
Yeah, that's why I say like the software is just not my favorite. But all right, let's hope for no more interruptions.
All right. So we were talking about TMG. Oh man. Welcome
Yeah,
back.
TMG 2019, right?
Yes, correct.
June.
Man, that was a fun show.
Now, I had not even met either of you guys before that.
No.
That was such a big event that I ended up going to. Life would have been so different.
I met Tom there too for the first time.
No, that was the
Yeah.
second time.
Oh, it was? Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's right. You came to Little Giant show,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. But that one, no. That doesn't count. That was like not me at my best. That one does not count.
That was my first comic show though.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
right. I like to
When was
black
that?
out that show.
That was a few months before TMG, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that your first expo at all then, Tom?
That was my first video game expo with TMG.
Okay.
But I'd been to other expos, Toy expos, stuff like that. But it was my first video, and then Atwood came with me too. So
I was just going to ask you.
yeah.
You're still friends with him?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's actually coming to visit in 8 days.
Oh, that's
Is it
awesome.
true that he sold everything?
It's true that he sold his full loose collection. Yes. Well, I shouldn't
Okay.
say that. He sold like 98% of his loose collection, but none of the cases,
He still has stadium events sealed.
as far as I know. Yeah,
Amazing.
I think we would know if he did sell those.
He should have sold it. He should have sold it 2 years ago.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, but on the flip side, he sold a big lot while we were like days after that TMG, and he probably regretted selling all of those.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he did good on some stuff and some stuff not so good, based on what happened like the following year and a half. But I mean, the pictures that I've seen, it's insane what he has. Like, I'm sure you both have seen it, but he's got it's the picture of a case of, like, they're all cases, but they're open. One's, Mario Arcade, and then on one side, and then on the other side is Donkey Kong, and then in the middle somehow is Uninvited, which is kind of funny. But just those two black box cases, I mean, what are those worth today?
Oh my gosh.
Dead mint Mario Arcades and dead mint Donkey Kongs.
well, if you remember in that lot that he sold for like a couple $100,000 back in 2019, there was a entirely unopened case of Mario 64 in there. And that whole lot sold for like a fraction of what several of them sold for afterwards individually. So
yeah.
Did those copies come from that case?
I don't know. Actually, I don't know. It's a good
I'd be
question.
surprised, but I don't know. Technically, that case should have wound up as uncirculated, and none of those were uncirculated.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah,
So I would guess there's still 6 more out there. I bet somebody hasn't opened it yet.
Yeah, that's
man,
pretty
if
insane.
I had that case and I was watching what the market was doing,
Yeah.
I would have opened the case.
Absolutely.
You're not in a hurry on that case, though. You're just sitting on that case.
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show that you can't time a market.
Yeah,
No.
kidding.
And if you do happen to time the market, it's entirely luck, and nobody's to say otherwise because nobody else has been able to reproduce it over time in any market. So you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true.
So
Send me back to 2019 though. Man, that was such a fun show. That was when everything was still like super exciting. I remember.
You want me to tell you how I met you?
Yeah.
Danielle, I mean?
Yeah.
I did not. I don't collect comics. I know nothing about comics. To this day, I still know nothing about comics. I'm completely clueless. But I met you. You had bought a Mega Man Soccer from Dan, and I wanted it and was hoping to get it there. And he said, "Oh, Danielle scooped these up with all the other stuff." And I'm like, "Danielle, who?" And then, like, fast forward 15 more minutes, and I met you, and you were really cool. And I'm like, I still want that Mega Man Soccer, but you're really cool. That was my introduction to Nerdy Girl Comics.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I'm always infamous.
And then you made the deal. Wasn't it you made the deal there, right? Or sometime soon after with Jeremy to get all of his Mega Mans. And then I was like, damn, she's really cool, but she just stole my Mega Man set. And I had to do it from scratch, which was way more expensive. But
so Jeremy was really cool for me because I was able to get a lot of stuff from him, like a lot of like A-level stuff. And it was cool for him too because he got his foray into comic books. And so
he got
we really like cross hobbies and
detective action. What is it? Batman 1, whatever.
Batman 1. He got a Spider-Man 1. He got a lot of really great books. He did. He got a lot of really, really great books. I got a lot of insane games, and he got a lot of. So that was a super mutually beneficial trades that we did.
He's one of my favorite people. So, you know, he's a true collector. He had one of the greatest collections before, you know, he started selling off, and he sold off because he just got interested in Transformers.
Yeah, he loves Transformers.
So, yeah, who am I to say otherwise? I mean, Transformers. Do you collect Transformers some?
I don't. I would. They're so hard to find, man. Like the ones that I want, like Starscream and you know, stuff like that.
What about Megatron? Is that easy or hard?
I have no idea. I
imagine
looked
that's
for
a tough one.
Starscream once, and that was kind of like, okay, this is not going to be an easy thing to do. So I was just like, not even going to tackle it. Like I got lucky, like we talked about with my Battle Cat, you know, because I found that 85U, but you know, I started looking for that and found that within like a month or something. But then like I started looking at like the Transformers, and I'm like, forget it. You know what I mean? It's like collecting Game Boy. It's like, forget it.
Yeah. That's why I like some of these hobbies though, because the hunt is so much fun.
Yeah.
Even if it's a long hunt, it's so satisfying when you get it.
Yeah.
Danielle, do you collect any toys?
Huh?
Do you collect any toys?
No, I have a snow speeder. I have a pink snow speeder.
Oh, cool.
Star Wars sealed, and I got it in a comic book deal. And other than that, no. I keep waiting for Pogs to become a thing, but I think I'm on my own.
And Beanie Babies.
Not Beanie Babies, but Pogs were the shit back in the day.
Pogs are cool. Well, what do you guys collect other than comics or games? Anything?
Art. I collect comic book art.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Do you have anything you want to show us?
I can't right now.
Not right now. Okay, no worries. We always like to see stuff.
Oh, yeah. Dave, I will talk to you after.
I know you have some absolute fire, so that's the only reason I'm asking. We'll you know, no worries.
We'll do this again, and I will have stuff to share with you. I have a couple games. I'm saying I'll talk to you after.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about it right now, but I'll talk to you after. But I did bring a couple games. I know you love Mega Man.
Oh man, that's beautiful. One of the best games of all time.
Well, this is one of my favorite games, and this is one of the games that, like, through all of these highs and lows we've been going through right now, this is one of the games that's really held its value. Mario hangs out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's done okay.
That one, and this one came from Europe.
Oh wow.
I was underbidder on one. I don't know how long ago, but it was like an 8.0 B+, and I didn't get it, and I have regretted it every day since. So
I'm really happy that one had, because I feel like in games, like the super rare but very popular still, and like at the upper echelon, because the same is held true in comic books on like Golden Age, but like that upper echelon of what, like hang tabs, right? Like the black box hang tabs have really held their value. Early print Zelda
for the most part,
really held their value.
The Excite Bike went ridiculously low last auction, but like you always have outliers. You know, the auction before, the signature auction before, the Donkey Kong 8.0 B+ did something like somewhere between 60 to 80,000. So I mean, it's still a really decent value in a recession. So
Yeah, Donkey Kong's impossible. That's why.
so tough.
Yeah. But it was one of the lower ones on the pop, and not
Yeah,
like
but
the
how many are
first,
on the pop?
like
I mean,
12 or less.
I don't
I
think
forget.
that many. I'm gonna check.
Eight maybe.
I think it's less than that.
I think it's
I
less
know.
than that, actually.
Yeah, I think it's like 4 maybe.
Yeah. I was gonna say like 5.
I'll tell
Was
you.
it Donkey Kong 1 or 3? I don't remember which one it was.
1.
1.
It was? Okay. Yeah, then you might be right. It's probably lower. It's probably like 4 or 6. I think DK3 has a few extra out there, but still, I mean, still low pop.
But
Still low.
is super low.
What does it say? DK Junior Math there's still no sealed copies graded, or?
I'll tell you in 1 second, almost there.
What's that gonna go for someday? Because like that's like an OG collector's
Yeah,
game
so
set.
DK1 is 4. It's 4.
Yep.
Okay.
And Junior Math is actually 3.
Sealed?
Yeah, but the highest is an 8.0.
What's the lowest?
8.0 A plus is the highest. There's an 8.0A and there's the 7.5A. That's it.
Wow, I wonder who has those.
Amazing.
I feel
That's
like
a game that a lot of people might pass up because of the grade.
Yeah, and then...
Well, and it's also because it's math. Like most people, like the old school collectors are hunting that more than people that are coming in that are just kind of wanting to find like rare stuff. Like that's like an OG collector's game that battle it out for that, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. The video is so choppy on this. Is everybody seeing okay?
Yeah, I can't see any chat. So if anyone is saying any questions or anything, I can't read any chat whatsoever. I can't see it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to I really wish there was like a better option out there, but YouTube doesn't have anything right now. So
no, it's okay. It just can't show me the chat. That's all.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I wanted to ask you, Danielle, you are having your own convention. First of all, congratulations.
Oh, wow.
Second of all, what's going on with that?
So, someone pointed out that like I didn't have any cons for a few months, so I created my own. But I wanted to, a few months ago, I was talking to some friends and we stayed in an Airbnb together. And I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if we like got together and we did this just as like a group? And we streamed and we hung out and we nerded out. And I go to something similar every year. And then at first I was just gonna like rent a big house, invite some people in, and then it's morphed now into NerdyCon, and I'm having artists come in. I'm gonna have streaming stations. I'm gonna have vendors. We rented out a ballroom at the Holiday Inn in
nice.
Orlando, right across the street from Universal Studios. We've got like a VIP lounge we're gonna have going, and we have a DJ on Saturday nights.
Oh wow, you really went the full 9 yards.
It's really turned into, it's not even just a con, it's like a hybrid event where it's literally an event where
it's a party. It's a massive party where you can trade games too.
To like buy and sell comics.
Comics.
Books for sale, vendors, like it's everything all coming together in all the best ways, and I'm really, really excited. I really feel like if I build it, they will come, so yeah.
That's cool.
Are you inviting video game people, or?
Anyone who is willing to come can come. I would not be opposed to video game people. Of course, I'm still buying video games. I know they haven't been super prevalent on my page, but I'm still buying video games.
Can you tell us what you're buying?
I'm still... That gets me in trouble, Dave. That gets me in trouble.
Well, you see what I'm buying right here. This is what I'm buying.
You can talk about that.
I'm buying a lot of turtles. I mean, I buy games and turtles. I got that Inspector Gadget going on.
That's awesome. I'm still buying Mario's. I'm still buying Zeldas. I'm still believing in all the pop culture. Yeah. I think that it's timeless. I think I was right when I said that, like, that's what you should be going after because everyone comes in. People said I was crazy when I was saying that back in the day. Like, everyone was like, you're wrong. I don't know what you're doing. Why are you doing this? You're disrupting things. Yeah. And I'm just going to say I was right.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what's funny though is people just, and I don't mean people within the sealed community, I mean people outside of it are assuming that we're not buying things, and it's like what do you think we're doing? Of course we're
Yeah.
buying things, right?
I mean,
Like,
now it's such a great app. Like,
yeah.
I have to really choose my words carefully now. It's changed a lot over the years. I really get a lot of sound bites stolen from me.
Yeah, no kidding,
Um,
right?
I'm still buying sealed games. I'm still a believer in sealed over CIB. I think that there will be a place down the road and long term for high grade CIB stuff, but I also do feel like maybe people are learning that, and the same thing is happening in comic books and sports cards. Just because something can be graded doesn't mean
Right.
it should
Yep.
be graded.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. I mean, for me, it's sealed. You know, that's what I lead with. But then, if that's not an option for like a Dr. Wright or something like that, then I'm going for the high grade CIB.
Yeah.
But I'm not, you know, I'm not going to just grade something. I mean, I've got enough high end stuff to grade that it's still like kind of in the line that needs to go to, you know, WADA or VGA or CGC or whoever. I'm not worried about sending low grade stuff, you know, stuff that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I was gonna tell you before. I feel you on the watching what you say, because I had
Yeah,
a
no
nice
kidding.
private conversation with decaps, telling him politely, you know, to less words are better, and it was live, of course, so other people were in the room, and then they made a meme out of me. So if you haven't seen that meme, it's it's worth a share. But yeah, you know,
I get memed a lot.
it's you know, it is what it is. We deal with it. You know, it's never like fun when it happens, but like sometimes it's okay. Sometimes.
How sad is it though that you actually have to worry about what you're saying and what you're posting, right? So somebody doesn't take it and twist it. It's so messed up.
I try not to. It gets me in a lot of trouble, but I try not to. Sometimes I drop the wrong words in the
Yeah,
right words in the wrong place. If
absolutely.
that makes
Yeah,
any sense. And some people here will
totally.
know what that means, but
I do. Yep.
sometimes, you know, the thing is, I am old. I'm getting old. I got this gray in my beard. I am old. I make mistakes. I don't understand technology as good as I used to. Um, like whatnot has been okay, but like there's been things like some other forums that are very difficult to use.
Yeah.
I don't know. So anyway, it's crazy because I used to be in tech, but the more things like you know come out, they're different to the way I would think to do them. So
Oh my gosh, I feel so ancient sometimes.
yeah,
Wait, Tom, do you still have your Mario Kart or your Mario 64?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I still have my Mario Kart, which
Yeah.
I posted about a few weeks ago. I guess I shouldn't have because that caught somebody's attention that we won't have to talk about. But no, I still have it, and that's the thing is, it's like people are like, oh, you should have sold it. I'm like, no, because if I sold it, then I wouldn't have it. You know,
right.
like that is lost on some people, and it's you know they think that you're not a collector at heart, and it's like, no, I didn't sell it because I actually valued it more than what I was, and I was offered six figures for that game, a legitimate six-figure offer for that game. And I said no, and it's just because I just want it in my collection. And I know you both have amazing pieces that are literally just part of your collection, right? And
Yeah.
they're not going to go anywhere. And for me, it's like those pieces aren't going to go anywhere until the whole collection goes somewhere, right?
Well, that's the thing is I won't sell my Mega Man collection unless you want to buy all of it. Like,
Right.
and that keeps it in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want that like lets you just rip the band-aid off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes you just
And
have
it's
to rip
true.
it
It's
off.
better when you sell it all at once because it's like it's so overwhelming and it's so emotional.
Yeah.
And someone said to me yesterday, they're like, it's all about ROI, and I appreciate that standpoint. But that's not. My response was, if I didn't have my emotional attachment, I wouldn't know what to buy. I need my
right.
emotional attachment to it. It sucks when stuff sells, but I need my emotional attachment.
Yep. I agree.
Well, and you know, I think that people sometimes feel like you can't be both, right? Like I
Right.
think
Yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
you can't be a collector and you can't be a dealer. But you can, because
Yeah.
a lot of people fund their hobbies with the hobby. Some people do it as a full-time job. I have a lot of stuff I buy and sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also have a personal collection, and
Yep.
my personal
Yep.
collection is usually super rare, hard to find stuff. Or with art, it's obviously one of ones. I have a lot of my art collection is mostly covers. I try to have a lot of like really iconic artists in my collection. And the same thing with games, right? Like I want like those super rare pieces that, yeah, if it's like a Mario Kart, okay, I can go find another Mario Kart, right? If it's a Mario Hang Tab, well, those are a lot harder to find.
Yeah. You know, it's funny too, because like to your point, Danielle, like people just assume you can't be both. But how many times, and I know this is true for all three of us, but how many times have you had to buy a lot or a whole collection to get the one or two pieces that you really want? So what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to hold everything because if we sell it, then we're not collectors anymore. That's insane.
Well,
You
and
know?
Well, you upgrade, upgrades.
Right. Right.
oh yeah, for sure.
You sell your
Well,
undercopy all the time.
All the
you
time.
know, I get a lot of flack in comic books sometimes because people say that when I came in, I didn't care about comic books. And, you know, when I came into comic books, I didn't really know anything about them. And for me, I was like, oh, wow, you can make money selling comic books. Okay. But like, as you learn about these comic books, and the same goes in video games. For me, video games was a faster love because I played video games. For me, it was like crazy nostalgia.
Not going to
But
argue with
there
you
are a
there.
lot of people that come into a hobby and they're like, oh, well, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And maybe they come in as kind of an investor or speculating or whatever it might be. But you become a lover and a fan of these hobbies because you learn about them. Like
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
can't be in and buying and collecting and even selling unless you're learning about what you're buying and selling.
Mhm.
So it turns into a passion, it turns into a love, it turns into a hobby, it turns into wanting your own collections. For me, video games, the nostalgia factor is so strong across
Mm-hmm.
any, and I think it's the one collectible, for me anyways, that transcends every hobby. You have comic book collectors,
So
you
well
have
said.
sports card collectors, you have Pokemon collectors, but video games, everybody
Yeah.
played video games.
And
That was
everybody,
that
it's
was my
connected. Connected to comics, connected to every. It's technology. You know, everything is video games. It's 100% agree. That's just such a very good. I mean, very well said.
Thanks. Sometimes I'm
Yeah.
also.
I totally agree.
It's just, and I think a lot of the haters, like they're out there hating because we're collecting something that's a little high end. It's a little elite, and that's supposed to not be okay. But it's like, on top of everything else, I started doing this because I believed in preservation. I truly want these things to survive 200 years, 300 years. But like, I want to own someday a copy of like, you know, what is it, Newton's Principia, you know, books that are ancient, that are ungettable. Like, that's what video games are to me.
Have
They're
you ever
totally
had an
ungettable.
ET from the landmine?
I'm sorry?
A landfill? Have you ever owned an ET from the landfill?
No.
That's
Jeremy had a beautiful one.
Yeah, he had VGA do a display.
I know. His display was
that's
incredible.
cool.
Unreal.
I want one of those. I've been looking for one for years.
Yeah.
It's been, you know, you can get the other games, you know, you can get Defender, you know, that's pretty common, or some of the other ones, but it's got to be the ET, right?
Yeah, 100.
That was
Well,
one of
and
the.
I'm not an Atari. Like, that's the one game I would want.
Yeah,
is
100%.
That's the one.
Well,
Yeah,
here's the game that people are sleeping on the most is the first Mario, though. A lot of people don't know that there's the Mario Brothers that came out in like, what was it, 1985? That's like the one that the Atari one that everybody sees, but there's one with a like peach cover that's like super stupid rare that no one seems to know about, and everybody's sleeping on. That was the actual first print of the first time that Mario was ever introduced.
that's what
Other than Donkey Kong, of course. I'm sorry?
An Atari?
In Atari 2600, the first time it was produced was the orange. It's like a peach orange, red. I think peach is really the best color. The background is peach, and it's like it's a different print. It's the first print of that night. It's a 1983 release, and that's a great Atari game to own that no one seems to know about.
Yeah.
Sleeping on it, it's crazy. Super low pop, super hard to find with a seal on it. Even if you find a copy, a lot of them are NSs because a lot of them weren't even sealed.
Is it wrapped or as a sticker?
But some of them are glued tops and not wrapped, and some of them have a seal.
Huh.
Yeah. Tom, you got it. You know it.
I don't. I'm gonna be honest. Was never really my jam. So I didn't start even paying it. I'll be honest. I didn't start paying attention to Atari until, it kind of caught fire 2 years ago.
20, right?
Yeah, something like that. But even then, I never collected it. But I'm with Danielle. Like that Alamogordo ET, I would be all over one of those because that's just such a cool story.
Yeah. Did you see the display that they made, Jeremy? I've tried to get them to make displays like this for me for other stuff, but they won't. But they made this big plaque, and it had the game, like a certificate of authenticity.
So awesome.
It was the coolest thing I've ever seen, and they encapsulated the whole thing. It was beautiful.
A box too.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, his was because it was a box, the cartridge, and then his cert all in a VGA acrylic case.
Yeah, that was.
I heard they all smell like poo, though.
I would imagine.
You'll never know. It's inside.
Yeah. Well,
it's smell proof.
I guess, right? It's vacuum sealed, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
One of the coolest, and that's, I think, what we're kind of, I think overall, like kind of the point of all this too, is that there are so many great pieces out there that people don't even know about that are worth so much money in the end. Maybe not today, but if you go and you love it, someone else will love it and want that thing. And that's why we do what we do, because not to make money necessarily, like, sure, that's not a bad byproduct, but we love what we do. We collect cool shit. Literally, in that case, shit.
Well, that's the thing is people assume because when you're dealing with huge dollar amounts, people assume that you're not a collector. It's like that the two don't go hand in hand, right? Like you can collect. I mean, look at people that collect like rare coins. I mean, you want to talk about money or rare art? Like, come on, you're talking. Somebody just sold their personal art collection for over $1 billion. Like, and I mean, come on, like. That they weren't a collector? Of course they were a collector. That's why they bought
Van Gogh went for 116 million. Wasn't that the price? Something around there?
Wow.
Give or take?
Yeah, I mean, think about that for a second.
Oh my gosh.
And that wasn't Starry Night. That was just a random Van Gogh.
Oh, Starry Night would be hundreds of millions.
Wow.
Hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah.
If not a B,
Video games are so cheap compared to
I know.
Especially now. Oh my god.
I know.
Shit, an iPhone just went for $40,000.
Yeah.
An iPhone.
I wish I would have bought an iPhone.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too.
4 years ago, I wanted.
I tried to.
I wish I would have bought one.
I tried to. I had a friend who has an iPhone, and he told me about it. Like honestly, like probably 7-8 years ago. And
they were cheap 7-8 years ago.
I tried to get it from him. He still has it. He still has it. And
4 years ago, we were already in the thousands, though.
Yeah, I think 4 years ago they were like 7,000, maybe.
Yeah,
something like that. 8,000.
I bought mine around 3 years ago, and I bought a whole set of Apple products, just one of everything.
You still have it?
Yeah, I'm sending them in to get graded. Actually,
do you have an original
iPod? I have one of everything.
Nice, that's awesome.
Like I have an iPod Nano, an iPod Shuffle, an iPod Touch, like the first 3 iPhones.
Wow.
And I just got it from one guy. He had a bunch of Apple products. He was selling them, and I was like, I've been wanting these for a while. I don't really have the money for it, but I did it, and I'm really glad I did.
That was really smart. Great buy.
That's cool.
I wish I bought twice. I wish I bought 3 times as many, but
Yeah, no shit. Well,
always the case. Always.
Yeah, that's like always the case.
Well, that's the problem with collecting too sometimes, though, is because there's so many things that you want. Like, it doesn't make sense to buy 3 of one thing, right? You buy one, one, and one. So sometimes you've got to leave stuff behind, because you want to go after something else.
It depends what
Unless
it
you
is,
want to,
Tom. It depends what
Yeah,
it is.
it does.
unless you want to corner the market, which a lot of people do.
We don't use words like that.
Well, I mean, I know somebody who collected like 20 NBA jams, and I know somebody who collected about like 20 Tysons easily.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know someone that has a lot of Tysons.
We probably know the same person.
And the person I know that has them is not a video game collector.
Yep, we know
Oh
the
wow.
same person.
It's his favorite game though. And that's the only video game he's ever bought. Ever.
Wow,
Like
that's crazy.
He bought one. He bought one other one. Two others. Two others.
Oh, well, one copy of each one?
From me, yeah.
Yeah, okay. He probably did it in a deal you did with him. But
No,
normally,
just Batman and Spider-Man.
oh, okay, it makes sense. Don't say any more.
Yeah.
No, he's cool. He's cool. I'm hoping to meet him in Vegas soon. I mean,
Oh,
he's a
no,
really cool
no.
guy. I've had a great relationship with him. He
Yeah.
loves Tyson, and he's a great. He, like, it's. I don't blame him. It's a great thing to collect.
I was the first one he ever bought. I brought him into the hobby.
Oh,
Are
wow.
you sure about? No, I don't think that's true.
I think I am the first one. Yeah. Yeah, I was.
I'm going to ask him.
In San Diego.
Really?
Yeah, ask him. Yeah.
I, that will break my heart. I popped his video game. Whatever. He was. Yeah. Okay. Well, that man, I feel cheated on. All good. All good. No, it's awesome when we can help people get stuff that they want, though. I mean, it's
Mhm.
usually stuff I want to keep, but it's great when we can help.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes it a lot
So,
easier.
Tom, what are you buying now? Like, are you still buying games?
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. I've added some pretty cool. You know how it goes. Like sometimes things just fall into your lap, right? You're not even
What's
looking
the
for them.
coolest piece you've added lately?
Probably I picked up and I'm not even a Pokemon collector, but I picked up a Pokemon Crystal, and
Ooh.
it's the error copy, and it got 9.6 A+.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That's
Yeah,
really
That's a big boy.
it was big. I couldn't say no. It was one of those ones too where like it popped up, and I was like, oh man, I'm not looking for this, but I kind of have to have it. And literally, like 6 hours later, I was in a car. You know. So
Dave, are there any questions coming in? Because I can't read any of the chat.
No, Dan wants a Circle Seal Jeopardy because I gave him a Circle Seal Wheel of Fortune that was one of one for like
yeah.
$400, and he's like trolling me about it.
I have one.
Oh wow.
Of Jeopardy? All right, Dan, we'll go hit her up for a Jeopardy then.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Wheel of Fortune Circle Seal, super tough.
One of one, I think.
Yeah,
it was
like
it was a high grade copy too, but Dan, we just have to give him stuff. We're not allowed to charge for it.
Dan,
See, I control him back.
Say it again.
I said, I control him back.
That's true. Well, I just started this thing where I do trolls for trolls, and I give away trolls when I have trolls in my.
That's funny.
That's amazing.
I've got some addresses for you.
I have little tiny trolls.
The list is growing, Tom.
Danielle, do you care to share anything you've added lately, video game wise?
Well, I mean, I would say the biggest game I've added in the last few months would be the TM, right? I mean,
ooh,
yeah, that's kind of big.
That's big.
Oh, do you want to? I mean, there may be some people who don't know what that is. We should probably.
Oh, so it's a first print sealed Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, so we refer to it as a TM. Yeah.
And I can post a photo of it tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
But you can tell that it's a first print because it has a double TM on the front of the box. It's got I've added like some other like smaller stuff, but that's probably the biggest one that I've added the last few months.
Yeah, it doesn't get much bigger than that. That's awesome.
Well, I would love a Mario sticker.
Yeah, wouldn't we all?
Yeah, what is there
So
still? There's still only one of those in existence, right?
no, there's two.
There's two. What's the other one? A gloss?
It's a VGA Gloss 80.
Interesting. So
Yeah,
It's great.
how's
Is
the
it on
stick?
the top reports? Did I
it's
hear VGA is
so
top reports?
It was
I
supposed to
have
be by
no
the end
idea
of
what
last
they're
month.
doing. But when VGA did sticker seals, they didn't differentiate between matte and gloss. It just says sticker seal. But yes, there's a VGA 80 gloss.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's confirmed. Yeah.
Wow.
And
What would that go for? Like, even because, like, the market really is in a very different place than it was even 8 months ago. But I think that's true across all hobbies. But
Yeah.
even in this current market, what do you think that a gloss, I mean, that's like real, like first, would, and that's like no second matte gloss. What would that go for?
Even in this market, it's got to be 2 million, 2.5.
The 80?
The 80, it's got to be. I mean, there's only two of them.
Yeah, I don't think it would go. I mean, arguably the 988 Plus is a higher value.
I don't.
You think
I
the
think
98A plus hang tab is higher value?
I think the market would value it higher, yes.
Because it's
I
a
don't.
9.8.
The three of us would probably prefer the sticker seal, but the market would absolutely value the other one higher.
Well, you know what? I agree with you, but I think that that's why we've seen some of the shifts happen, right? In the market, where even like where people are finally becoming more educated. And I think that that's what's going to continue to happen. I think right now, I agree with you. I think.
You know why I think the last auction went so low? Is because everything in the Plattsburgh edition was not clean and got an A seal.
Yeah.
What do you think went low?
A lot of stuff that had A seals. I mean, I think that certain things went way too high, like the Zelda 98A, way too high. But then the 948 Plus, way too low.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And Tom, for you also, do you think that there is now too much emphasis being put on the seal?
You want to take that, Tom?
I think, for me,
especially between like a B plus to an A.
That I think is a big jump. That I think is a huge jump.
Do you think that it's too big? Do you think that it's now like too much emphasis there?
Yeah, I think there is, because at the end of the day, the sealed copies are what people are gonna. I mean, they do want it now, but I think even as we get deeper and deeper into this, they're just gonna become harder and harder to find. And one of the other things that we're gonna start dealing with too, is especially as we're, in my opinion, as we're buying this dip, right, and collectors are adding these. So we've seen these go into the hands of a lot of collectors now that had to have them, that now can get them in the price range that they were comfortable with. Those are not coming back out for who knows how long. So we're going to have to go through this phase, I think, of letting things dry up a little bit, right? Because they're in the hands of collectors and they're not coming back to market. And then when that happens, you're going to see those lower rated seals probably come up, because people are just going to have them. And that's the only option you're going to have.
I agree with the sentiment, but I disagree with the answer, if that makes sense. And what I'm going to say is that I don't think there is enough education. I don't think people are putting enough emphasis on the seal. I think people are undervaluing the seal grade as part of the overall grade. And the way that I like to look at things, and this is just me, but the way I like to look at things is I like to convert everything in WADA back into VGA before I determine what's better. And I think it's the one mistake that WADA has done, is not give an overall grade, because I think it would help to differentiate these problems. To me, if you cross a 98A back to VGA, you're probably getting an 85 because of that seal. If you cross a 94A plus back to VGA, you're probably getting an 85 plus in most cases. So the 94A plus, to me, better than the 98A, yet the $57.6 thousand bid was on the 9AA instead of the 94A plus. that was an education problem, in my opinion.
So I kind of disagree with you because I liked that what I came on and now we have CGC matching that grading scale. I felt like VGA made each grade way too broad. My
Yeah.
issue on the seal rating with B plus to A is it can be a matter of scuffing.
Yes.
And that B plus to A it is like half
Mm-hmm.
in a final hammer. And I don't think that it should be that big of a difference. My issue
Yeah.
with VGA is that, like, yeah, you're right. An 85 can cross anywhere from an 8.5 to a 9.6. And I understand why they're doing it that way. I don't know if I understand why you cross all your games back to VGA. I guess
I'm not saying I cross them back to VGA. I'm saying when I determine what grade is better than another, I convert it back into the VGA scale in order to understand the difference between a 9.8A and a 9.4A plus. My vote is for the 9.4A plus, not the 9.8A.
I would take the 9.8A. Now if it was 9.6,
I probably would too.
plus, that's a little tougher.
Well, keep in mind the Zelda example that I'm using from the auction. That 9AA had a sticker over the actual front, bottom, and the oval seal of quality, and another security sticker on the back. On top of all of that, that's a pretty ugly Zelda.
Well, that's just eye appeal, right?
Yeah, but that's big. Sorry, say that again.
Do you know what VGA would have graded that?
My guess is that it would have gotten a VGA 85. I don't think you can get an 85 plus without an A plus, and I don't think you can get a 90 or above without an A plus plus. I think a 9.4 A plus plus is a VGA 90. The 9.6 A plus plus is a VGA 90 plus, and a 9.8 A plus plus is a 95 or higher. That's how I look at the scale.
I think once you get, personally, I think once you get to the upper end, I would take a 95 over any 9.8 A plus plus.
I agree, because they graded the shit out of that thing.
A 95 is literally like at the microscopic level. You might find one or two flaws.
Agree. Totally agree. And that's why it's funny that Mario 64 went for less as a 95 than a 9.8 A plus or whatever it was.
But I think we all know the market will take the 9.8 A plus all day.
But I think that goes back to it not being an understandable grading scale.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
If you look across all different collecting platforms, even if you go to sports cards, there's still 8.0, 8.5, 9.0, 9.5, 10. There's still a numerical grading scale where you're separating, and all other collectibles separate. In comic books, you separate page quality from the book, and the book gets a grade and then the page quality gets a rating. And sports cards, they rate centering, they rate all of that stuff, right? So
100%.
In video games, I feel like there had to be something that, like, I know the whole scale should be included in it, which in CIBs it does, right? Because you get the average. But I like that maybe the one thing that should be different is on like a C, even if the box is immaculate, there should still be a max threshold. It's like in comic books with brittle pages. If you have brittle pages, you can only go so high with brittle pages.
Well, just let me clarify my stance. My stance is that they should not have done the box and the seal grade. I absolutely think they should, because it clarifies the situation. All I'm saying is they should have found a way to, in addition to those two pieces of data, merge them into an overall grade.
How would you do that, though?
Decide the weight that the seal carries, and give people your opinion on which one's better, because then we can compare these on an absolute scale. Then we wouldn't have that debate.
But then that goes into them giving their opinion on values, and that's a whole other rabbit hole.
No, it gives their opinion on the overall scale, the overall quality. Give like a numerical like 86.9. Like, Give me an actual value that I can use one versus the other to tell if that 98A, right? If that 98A had taken the seal into account, the 948 plus, in my opinion, like I said, if they were weighting it properly, the 948 plus would get a higher overall score than the 98A. Now, you could disagree, and if they disagree, then fine, make it that way, but at least give everyone a way to evaluate one versus the other, right? It's just hard in video games for that reason.
Well, see, and you think there's not enough emphasis on seal. I'm on the other side where now I think that there's too much emphasis on seal.
Too much.
Yeah.
And that's a valid opinion. And then you'd still be able to make your own decision, but like, again, it would give you an opportunity to say, okay, well, if the seal's value at 30% of the overall grade, then when they factor this dip in, it really takes this down from a 9.98 to actually like a 91.2.
That feels
I don't know,
very
whatever.
complicated and confusing.
Well, I think it's confusing for other people to try to compare things otherwise, right? Like we don't know we don't have a scale, right? We don't have a scale to compare things on.
Like compared to VGA, you mean?
Well, compared to comics. Comics, it's a 9.8 or it's an 8.5. You don't have the seal grade to take into account. How are people that are new to this industry supposed to know whether a 9.8 C plus is better than a 9.2 B plus? Is that crazy to ask?
That even though it's a C plus, I still think the 9.8 is better, even though the seal is a C plus.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, but we don't have a way to really say one way or the other.
The thing is, though, it's going to come down to each individual collector.
Yeah.
Some are going to prefer a box with sharper corners versus a seal that, is immaculate. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
For me, I mean, I prefer razor sharp corners. I want the box to display really nice. I don't want a crunched corner. So some people may be okay with like a little bit of a crunch on a corner as long as that wrap is glossy and shining. So
yeah, I become a seal snob.
Yeah,
I like those A pluses.
I mean, they are, especially now. They're like, it's almost impossible. It's so hard to get an A plus. It's crazy.
Yeah, but if you get one, that's why if you get one, it's so special. It's so special to have an A plus plus. It's like in school when you got the top grade in the class on something, and it just felt so good to have that top grade.
Yeah. Speaking of which, that's a good question. What do you guys know that you have that's, a piece that's the top grade of that title?
Oh gosh, I would have to really sit down and look at it. Huh?
She's got a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say Danielle's got like a list that's long, but that's
she's like, okay, let me take you to my closet. This is all the top graded stuff in the
nose goes.
My Mega Man is tied for the top grade, but it's not the first print. But there's no first prints out there, so second prints. But mine's a third with the Capcom sticker.
What's that graded?
Commando 948 plus.
Nice.
There was again. This is debatable. There was a 968 at auction. I would take my 948 plus all day long, but I don't know.
Yeah,
that's me.
Tough when it's that close, right? Or like a 9.0 to 9.2. Well, I'll take a 9.8 plus over a 9.2A.
I would too.
I would take a 9.28 plus over a 9.8A. All day long. All day long. In VGA, that 9.28 plus is going to grade 85 plus.
Yeah, should. More time.
And the 9.8A is going to get an 85. All day long. That's and until somebody gives me a different way to compare them, that's the only scale I have. So I might be wrong, but it's the only way I can do it, Thought-provoking. Okay. So have you used CGC games yet? Have either of you submitted?
I have not. Have you?
Nope.
I have not. I didn't make it to PRGE. I was devastated over it, but it was my 10-year anniversary. It is what it is. You have to do certain things. But PRGE,
I'll be with my friends.
the last time we were in PRGE, you remember, right? 2000 August 2019.
Yeah.
Or was it October? August or
It was
October?
October. No, I think it was October because it was rainy.
Okay, fine. But Portland was the most fun city
Oh
I've
my
ever
God.
like. We had a freaking blast.
It was so much fun.
Do you
Yeah.
remember the fries at the place that I posted that picture from? We couldn't stop eating the fries, and nobody knew why, but they were
So
the best
good.
fries.
Yes, they were so good. That was
Oh my
such a
God.
fun weekend. I really love shows and I really miss the video game shows. Next year I'm going to go back.
Did you go to PRG?
I did not. It was right on the heels of New York for me and I really wanted to, but I just could not swing it. I just got back from New York. The flight to Portland from Florida
Yeah,
is
that's rough.
Oh,
really,
that's a
really
connection,
rough.
right?
No direct flights. You have to have a connection. It's like an 8 to 9 hour flight at best with a layover. And it's like, how do I do that? Just coming back from New York to leave and have to fly for like 16 to 20 hours for a 72-hour weekend, essentially.
Yeah,
It was just too
No,
that's too much.
I don't do non-direct flights ever anymore. If it's not direct, I just don't go.
I feel that so deeply. I feel that.
I just don't go. I just don't like. I won't.
Yeah,
It's too much.
I feel that very deeply.
I'm
Although
envious of the
California, I
people.
have to fly with a layover to San Diego.
Yeah, I'm envious of the people who live in the California area that get to use that JSX airline
Oh, it's so
and
good.
private airplane or
Yeah,
semi-private airplane. Like,
yeah, it's really
uh,
nice.
amazing.
I've done that. It's really convenient.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, we could drive," but I'm like, "Why wouldn't you just take a private, like, semi-private airplane? That's amazing."
Yeah,
So
so
we don't
much.
have that stuff in New York. What about you, Tom? You didn't go to PRG, right?
I've never been to PRG.
Oh,
Oh,
no shit.
Yeah, that's like a bucket list thing for me.
next
I mean,
year.
it's literally across the country. I mean, it's not quite as far as you, Danielle, but I mean, it's not that far off. New Hampshire all the way over, you know?
Yeah, that's a long way. We
Yeah.
should go. We should all make a pact to go next year. It was a lot of fun in 2019. It would have been a lot of fun this year, but
Yeah, I definitely want to go for sure.
I'll sketch out my shows for this year and
And I do want to go back to TMG too.
do you know
that
what
was
month
fun.
this year? Is it in June?
I think
Yes.
they're moving it back to June, yeah.
The problem is COVID really fucked it all up with show schedules also.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everyone had to race to get all their shows back this year. Like in that this coming year, C2E2, which is one of the biggest comic book shows of the year, and which is in Chicago, and MegaCon, which is in Orlando, are doing their shows the same weekend this year.
Oh man.
So it'll be one last show I'm doing because they're on the same weekend. But I'm looking forward to plotting out the schedule, and I'm definitely going to put at least Portland on there. And I'd like to go back to TMG because that was a really just. That's why I met
TMG
Dylan
was
for the
fun.
first time too.
Yeah.
TMG was fun, but Portland was more fun because
Portland was a vibe.
the number of breweries per square block. I'm not even talking square mile. They had 3
Yes.
breweries in every block we went to, and we went like brewery hopping.
Portland
Remember we
was
went
a
to that
whole vibe.
basement? Remember we went to that basement? We met that guy who was so enthusiastic and wanted to like meet up with us later, and his girlfriend. Like, yeah, oh my god, it was so. That was a blast.
That was
They
so
good
much
pizza
fun.
too.
Yeah.
Tom, next year you gotta come next year.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to. For sure. So the thing for me, TMG was fun, but it was fun because of the people and like the hanging out sessions that we had. The show was okay, whatever, but it was more about the hanging out and stuff. I'd love to go to PRGE and get that plus an actual like great retro show too, Nothing wrong with TMG, but it's definitely not PRGE.
You know
They
what
didn't have the
though?
playable stuff.
I feel like they had similar quality of games in their floors. Like Portland is just
To buy, not to play though. Portland had more stuff to play.
yeah,
If you're
that's
into playing.
their arcade was huge, yeah.
That's cool.
But for like collectability and like buying, I feel like they were pretty similar.
Well,
Are-
we all got to. I mean, that was 2019. We got some. I remember you may remember this. I got a Mario Kart for $325, and you were so mad because you're like, Mario's my thing, and I'm like, I know Mario's your thing, but Mario's my thing too, and I love Mario Kart. So
We got to be careful though. Don't we get in trouble when we go to shows and actually buy things?
all the time,
Remember,
constantly.
because
I'm
we get
supporting
spotted
Tom.
buying stuff, and then we're
And by
bad people.
by all means, if you go to a show, by no means talk to anybody who
Right.
doesn't like sealed games. Do not start
Yeah.
conversations, especially while they're unpacking. And it's been a really long day because if they're unpacking, it's been a really long day.
Oh my god.
They got books to sell, man.
If you know, you know.
Right?
Cheers.
Whatever.
Cheers
Yeah,
to my
cheers to
buddy
that.
over here. You guys, you're one of my favorite people. So fuck the haters, right?
Yeah, whatever. It's not stopping me from doing what I do, and I know it's not stopping you two either. So,
And that's
whatever.
why I love coming here to talk to you guys. You guys have, Tom, you've been in the hobby longer than almost anybody I know. Not quite, but almost longer than everybody I know. And Danielle, you came in with such a force and passion for the games, and really taught me a lot of stuff. Like, truly, I appreciate you. You taught me more things than I probably even realized. So, really, one of the most, influential collectors of the day. So,
Yeah.
We don't use the I word.
well, can I use the C word, collector?
Oh,
You can
I
use
was
the
going to say
C word,
easy,
but you
dude.
can't use the I word.
I had to say that fast because if I paused, that was going to
Yeah.
get turned into a meme.
Seriously.
Guys, he
can
called
I-
me the C word. He just called me the C word.
Yeah.
The collector.
It's getting
The
recorded too, I
collector.
think.
Like, I'm going to get canceled tomorrow. It doesn't matter. I'm going to keep collecting. I'm going to keep doing that C word, that collecting word, Oh, and Enton just joined it. Like, dude, we've been talking for like an hour. You just come in now, buddy? Like, seriously. He better have a good excuse.
Hey,
Was
does
Enton
anyone
there
have
the first?
questions? It feels so weird not being on my own stream. Tom, can you see the comments?
I'm catching a few of them. I got my phone going so I can look at
Okay,
them.
They're going
I'm so
fast,
jealous.
so.
I'm only.
Yeah, they are.
I like to engage though. I feel so weird not having comments. Do you guys have questions? Drop them in
Yeah,
the
throw
comments.
some
Black
questions
Panther,
at us.
man. Black Panther, he says.
Oh, I didn't see it yet. I have to see it this week. I had my daughter watch the first one with me. She'd never seen it before, so we rewatched it this weekend so that she can see the second one.
Dan Kaplan says, Enton is late as he was buying NFTs. So true, so true. Dude, you were out there buying apes, weren't you? Either of you, can I ask, you don't have to disclose if you don't want to say, do either of you own after the NFTs at all?
No,
I do not.
I
I'm
don't.
not about that life.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I'm not for or against them. It's just not something that I've chose to wrap my head around and pursue.
No, you tried to wrap your head around, but you can't wrap your head around like me because you're old and you just don't understand it.
So,
And you can't invest in something that you don't understand.
I can see utility uses for NFTs from like
Yes.
an ownership standpoint, but I don't understand, and I will never understand why people will pay millions of dollars for a JPEG.
Yes.
Maybe there's something.
I get it for that Van Gogh that sold. Attach an NFT. Sure.
Well, and not only that, but then like you can transfer ownership, right? So
Right.
like, I understand
Yeah.
that kind of like utility use for NFTs, but to just buy and say you own an ape or a doodle or a V friend, I don't understand it. I was talking to somebody a few weeks ago, and he was asking me what I thought about the actual art cards of the V friends, and I don't know. Like, I guess, how do you feel about like the actual cards themselves that were used to create that NFT? Do you feel like those should hold value?
There's no intrinsic value. There's no intrinsic value there.
Yeah, it was just,
Games are collectible. Games are worth something because they were never supposed to exist. Games were meant to be played. We actually agree on that. Games were meant to be played. The fact that they weren't
Right.
played is what makes them so awesome.
Yeah, for
1000%,
sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
So
Same
games were
with
meant to be
comic books,
played.
right? Like super high grade comic books.
Yeah.
They were meant to be read.
Right.
And discarded.
And if we go back to the 40s and the golden age, a lot of them were burned during paper drives and they were thrown away because parents didn't want their kids' comic books taking up space anymore. So they got thrown away. So they're super rare, super hard to find. And that's why if you look at a pace chart, like golden age, and I think it's going to be the same with Nintendo over time also, because I know there's Atari and I know there's earlier systems, but like Nintendo really revolutionized gaming. Like it just took it to
They
a different
mainstreamed
level.
it. They mainstreamed it.
But it also let you have like actual animated characters and
Yeah.
actual like levels and gameplay and just you play differently. You weren't like
Mhm.
playing like, okay, Galaga, you got everything. Now the board's gonna reset, but maybe they're gonna come at you faster. Like Mario, you got to change levels. Zelda, you got to go on different quests and missions and
The thing I always like to make the point, though, too, is that Zelda's never going to have a fair. Link is never going to have a fair with Zelda's sister. Like, you're never going to hear about Link on the news, like,
you never
because he, like,
know.
Yeah.
but, I mean, the point is, like, you have all these players, when you invest in sports, like, you have all these players who do all this crappy stuff. And, like, some of them are great, but, like, when you invest in Mario, you're investing in something that's, never going to have a scandal. It's
Well, they're making Mario World and all the Universals. Like they're coming.
Yeah, it's so
For
cool.
Mario World, they're coming.
yeah.
We're getting
I just did the
Mario
longevity.
Huh?
The longevity of it all. There's
Yeah.
longevity to Mario.
Well,
We'll
it's
all be
pop
dead.
culture, right? Like it's pop culture across just decades.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll keep making Marios long when we're gone. And people will still want the first Mario. They're
Yeah.
still gonna want that hang tab. I want that hang tab. Mario never gets injured. Good point. Mario never gets injured. Never throws a hammy or tears an ACL.
It's true. He does miss the flag sometimes though.
Yeah, he does. He jumps over, right?
Or falls short.
Falls short a lot, but especially when I'm playing. But yeah,
Danielle,
that's
you did get a question. It was about your TM Zelda.
oh sure.
Let me just see. I just want to.
So what did you buy? You cut out. Well, you cut out for me during that. What did you buy?
She bought a Zelda TM,
And
somebody's asking about the value of it.
What's the question?
invaluable.
Let me see if I can get the actual question.
Can you ask the question again?
Yeah, ask the question again.
What do you love about the game? Why don't we start with that?
Well, it's rare. It's the beginning of a franchise. So for me, like I'm more of a Mario person than a Zelda person. But Legend of Zelda is a franchise that's still going today. And to own one of only 3. And if you ask people name 3 video game characters, chances are they're going to say Mario. They're going to say Zelda. And in my opinion, I think a lot
They
of
mean Link, by the way. They mean Link.
and they'll say
Zelda.
They'll say Sonic.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like if you have to name 3 video game characters off the cusp or 3 titles, that's what you say usually. Mario, Zelda, Sonic. And to own one of only a couple of first prints and to know that this game over going on 40 years now at this point, like we're getting closer and closer to that 40-year mark, still remain factory sealed in that condition, especially like it's just mind-blowing that no one opened this.
Yeah.
Long term, what do you think, Zelda or Mario?
Ooh, I mean, I think Mario is always going to triumph just because it's Mario. If I had to put a TM Zelda against a Mario hang tab, I'll take the TM Zelda. I think that that's going to go. I think that eventually one day, I can't predict the market. It's in a lull. At this point, if I could go back in time and do it again, I would, because even though the value is not the same as it was when I purchased it, I think it's lower right now. I also believe that if we look out 5 years, 3 years, even from now, that games are gonna, in my opinion, I think games are gonna come back. I mean, I don't know if
100%.
the market is at its bottom. I don't know if it's gonna go lower, but like knowing that you can buy a sealed Zelda oval for 3,000, 4,000, whatever it is right now, I could buy those at those prices in 2019.
Yeah.
I was buying them at those prices.
If you're not if you're not taking out a second mortgage and buying games right now, you're crazy.
No. I'm going to say the same thing I said to Dave in 2019 when he told everyone to max out their credit cards. You should never spend more than you can afford to lose.
I was right, Danielle. I was right. I was right.
So we got a good question. Let me just pull it up. Ben Jam asks, what do we think it will take for the hobby to get to the next level?
I think time.
Yeah.
I think honestly, it's time. I think that first of all, like video games have been being collected for a long time, but it's a new hobby
Long time.
in terms of but it's a new hobby in terms of being a mainstream collectible, right? Comic books have been being collected for over 20 years. CGC has been grading. And don't think that comic books didn't have their fair share of drama. The difference today versus when sports cards and comic books had their scandals is there wasn't social media. And social media and YouTube and all these different channels have made it a lot easier to be loud when someone doesn't agree with something or is unhappy or wants to shed light on something, right, wrong, or indifferent.
Or it's just jealous.
Well, no, you know what? It's not even always that. Sometimes I think it's just misunderstanding and not knowing. And I think that it's made it really easy, though, to shed light when people are unhappy. And I think that video games went up really, really fast, but we were all in a COVID bubble, right? It's happening in comics, it happened in sports cards. Video games came out in the middle of social media. They peaked in the middle of COVID in a pandemic that we haven't had in 100 years. So there was like this perfect storm, and then you mix YouTube and different people and like
The information age.
controversies into all of it. And I think that it's just going to take time for people to realize, wow, these games, even though they felt like we were seeing them a lot, and it was a lot of games really fast. Yeah. Seeing, you know what, maybe it's not that easy to find. Maybe it is tough.
Yeah.
Well, on the back of that, though, can I answer the same question?
Yeah, I think it's all three of us. So
I think it's saturation. So I agree with everything you said. However, I don't think it's about when. I think the global economy has caused it to ride down, right? But really, more so than the global economy, it's been about saturation. Oversupply versus the size of the market. The market is going to grow over a number of years. That's just going to happen. There will be more investors. When we reach saturation point, which means all of these games right now that are going are being black holed for the most part. Some of them will come out to market with dealers who will want to hold long term and make money, but the most of them are being black holed by collectors who actually want the games. And when saturation point is reached and people stop giving their games to auction houses and there's not enough stuff to go around, then prices go up. Even if we're in the worst depression we've ever had, prices will squeeze up in that case. Yeah. I totally believe that, and I believe it's about saturation right now.
And I agree with both of you. I think,
and now,
like I was talking about earlier, I was mentioning some specific games that are now going into collectors' hands. Like Danielle, think of, just from what you said, think about what it would take from you to pull that TM from you right now, if it would even happen, right? Yeah. And we all have those games, and I think we're seeing with probably the last 3 SIGs or so, when I say SIGs, I mean the Heritage Signature Auctions, we're seeing those games, like to your point, Dave, they're going into black holes now. And
they're reaching saturation point for those games.
They're not coming back for a long time. and it'll
100%.
will definitely get us to the next level.
Right.
So you couple those two things, and I think we look back in a couple of years and we're gonna be like, wow, I wish I bought more. But who knows? I mean, like to Danielle's point, that
Take
she
a
made at the
second
very
mortgage
beginning,
out.
yeah, you can't time the market, right? But I mean, I think I've been doing this for over 20 years. I feel like I know when it's a pretty good buying opportunity.
Buy
And
Citigroup at
I'm
99
buying.
cents. That's what we're at. We're buying Citigroup at 99 cents in 2008. And anybody who did made a 30x return. Does it mean that they're not a good, not a collector of Citigroup? I don't know. But they made a good return on it. So if you want a good return, you buy during a dip.
Yeah.
I think it's also knowledge and learning and understanding.
Yeah.
And it's going to be people coming of age who had that nostalgia, that can afford to go out and buy the games. And then I think that's where I put a post up the other day, and it was like, investors, or how did I say it? I don't know, it was like a whole circle, right? Like speculators create investors, create collectors, and it's like a whole circle. Like everyone kind of becomes the same. Like no matter where you start, eventually you become a collector of sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm saying it's kind of tongue in cheek, but like, if you had really leveraged your house to buy collectibles in 2019 and sold in 2021, you would have made a fortune. So you could say I'm crazy all you want, and a lot of people in here are, and I don't blame you, because it makes total sense to call me crazy, but it also makes total sense to buy a dip. So crazy like a fox.
I'll put it this way. So
Definitely not.
I spent over a decade in the traditional investment world. I was a licensed broker, and I'm pulling from what people would consider traditional investments, and I'm buying more games. But that's where to Danielle's point, that's where my level of knowledge comes into play, right? Because I'm like, all right, like for me, this is a better opportunity.
You've been doing this for 10, 12 years, right?
What?
Video games. You've been collecting videos for at least
20.
10 years.
Oh,
20?
I'm over 20, man.
20. I thought you were 2012. That was a big
No. I
time for
started
the
in
entry.
2000 even.
So you were even before Dennis then. I was going
Dennis
to mention, by the way, Dennis
elementary
always
school.
took. What's that?
Dennis was in elementary school when I started collecting.
Yeah,
literally.
I know, but he started collecting in elementary school or like middle school or something.
That's fair. Yeah.
He started collecting when he was 9. So anyway, what I was going to tell you is Dennis always tells me every time I see him that Zelda will be the one that outperforms everything else. I say Mario, you say Mario, but Dennis always says Zelda.
Well, yeah. I mean, Zelda has a special place in my heart, but I think at the end of the day, it's Mario's Mario. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than that. But I agree. I agree with Danielle. If somebody put, on the table a Zelda TM and a Mario hang tab as a collector, I'm taking the Zelda TM. Now, put a sticker seal down, and that's a different story for me.
Different. I agree.
But head to head, that's what I would take the Zelda TM.
I like I said, I think the 988 Plus hang tab is the best video game in the world. I know it's unpopular, but here's the reason. That test, while the test stickers, this gloss sticker 94A++, while that's impressive, you have to remember that the sticker gets the A++. Mm-hmm. It's not like the cellophane really it's not the same thing as grading a cellophane. The fact that a hang tab, the first hang tab edition, is still findable in a 988 is unreal. I mean, that's, to me, if I could, and I guess on some level, they're two separate entities. That test sticker Mario is almost like in a different category.
Yeah.
And it's a 9.4 in that category. But we got a 988 plus in that first hang tab. It's a tough call. It's a tough call.
That way.
Tough call.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind the 80. Wouldn't mind the VGA 80.
So what concerns me about that 80, though, is what would that translate to, CGC or WADA, right? Because if it's an 80, that means it's got some noticeable flaws on it.
Yeah. Could be a
Yeah,
908 plus.
it goes
I don't
7
think it
to
would 908
85.
plus. I think there's a very, very slim chance it would hit 9. I've seen pictures of it. I haven't seen high def pictures of it, but I don't think there's much chance it would 9.
It's probably an 808 plus plus.
Yeah.
Because the
Well,
sticker is easy to A
I
plus
would
plus.
probably agree with that.
but VGA, but how do we know for a fact that VGA used the sticker as their seal grade, like when they were doing their weight?
I'm guessing they didn't. I'm guessing they didn't at all.
No, we don't
I'm
know what they
guessing
used.
that also.
They I can almost guarantee you that was not. They didn't have a seal grade there. They graded as part of the box.
Opened it. How they used to like open games sometimes.
Yeah, that was. I don't. I mean, I use VGA. I have nothing against them, but there's definitely some things they did that were really, really questionable, and that is really high at the top of the list. Like, if you can't tell, we can all tell. Everybody in the stream can tell if a box has been opened, even if it's once. Right? Yeah. Like, what are you doing opening it to verify contents? That is insane to me.
They actually asked a certain notable collector that I'm friends with if they told him that if the seal was like bad enough that if he just took it off and they opened it, that it would grade like a qualified 90 or 90 plus or something. So they actually took the seal off and opened the game.
Yeah.
Open the game. It was a big game. But he told them to because back then that was like what you did.
Yeah. I had a Mock Rider 85 plus Q, and I sent it to WADA, and
that's crazy.
They said that they thought it was only opened once and it was at VGA so they could verify the contents, and that just like, could you imagine? I mean, even regardless, it would have been an NS, but a Mock Rider, a high grade Mock Rider NS.
Ooh. And NSs are being slept on. I've talked about it in previous streams, but like NSs are just being slept on.
Yeah, I mean, I picked up that baseball NS a couple of SIGs ago.
Oh, that's right.
And I mean, come on, a black box. I mean, I'm going to take it all day long.
All day long, and an NS is the best display that you can have out there. Like Decaps has been talking about taking the seals off his games just to display them better.
He should do it.
Gary's been ripping it. He's going to start a series.
He just wants high grade CIBs. So I mean, and CIBs have been doing great. So
he doesn't even care if it's high grade. He'll take any grade. He's new.
Decaps just asked what the Mock Rider graded. I actually had them send it back to me. I didn't have them crack it. So Kenneth was able to look at it in the VGA holder, and he said definitely it's not going to NS, but in his opinion it was only opened once, and so I just had him send it back.
Ugh. You probably should have graded it. Honestly, CIBs are doing awesome right now.
They are. I mean, hindsight, yeah, I probably should have, but it is what it is, right?
I still would rather. It's so heartbreaking. There's been a few cases like that. You have to expect it to a certain degree. No one's perfect. I don't want to
of course. I mean, I'd love to see VGA come through with some of the promises they've made to the community with, like Danielle mentioned earlier, the pop reports. I mean, think about
due last month. Due last month, they said.
Well, they're probably coming. I think there's just going to be confusion in pop reports because I don't know that either company has kept back crossovers, and it's going to make the numbers look skewed because
for sure.
We know a lot of stuff has been cracked. I mean, I know personally how many games I've cracked.
Quite a few.
And there's people that cross from water.
And I know it goes both ways, right?
It does.
It's vice versa.
But here's the thing. This is a good thing for people who watch the stream because people who understand this are going to be buying certain games, understanding the pop reports better, and people who don't tune in and just follow the trolls on Facebook are going to be, clueless as to what the pop reports actually mean. So this is a chance to use it to your advantage. Use data to your advantage, Those who know, and those who don't, so what?
Okay, guys, I'm really sorry. My daughter goes back to school tomorrow, and I need to get her ready. But, Dave,
all good.
I would love to do this again. Have me
amazing.
Back on the channel.
It was amazing.
All right.
This was awesome. Thank you for joining
It was
in.
really good to see you guys.
Yeah, you too.
I'll see you again soon. Dave, have
All
you
right.
back on soon. All right.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Danielle.
Bye, guys.
Congratulations on NerdyCon.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
that's so
wish you
cool.
could come. I'll see you soon.
Tom, do you have a second?
Yeah, let's see if we can just wrap up with any other questions
Well,
that people might
I
have.
want. Do you mind if I do a quick unboxing of something that just came in?
No, go ahead, man.
It's kind of a grail for me, and I really want. I was hoping to show Danielle, but it's I'll show you this massive box, and it's not VGA. I know it looks like it.
Really? Yeah. It
No, I'm
definitely
still
does.
waiting on VGA. So, but
You
it's
and everybody else.
they're gonna ship my stuff next week.
When did you submit?
I truly believe that.
When did you submit? How long have they had one of your orders?
Since January.
Oof.
About 50 to 70 games. It is a Hatris decaps. It's definitely a copy of Hatris. It's the biggest copy of Hatris that you've ever seen. Decaps trolls me because I collect Tetris variants.
Somebody asked if CGC is taking subs now, right?
CGTO is taking subs for I Heard Everything.
Cool. Right on. I thought so. Oh,
Right.
this is gonna be a toy.
This is going to be a toy, but it's going to be the most epic toy you've ever seen. Actually, I'll show you one other. No, I'm not going to show you. It's in the background. I can't get it.
That's fine.
But this is like one of the. Yeah, I'm dropping toys. This is one of the coolest things that I've gotten in a while. So I really wanted to. I really don't want to wait on it either, because it's so kind of cool to. Yeah, even if you don't collect toys, this is a pretty cool one.
All right. I have a feeling I know what it is. I hope I'm right.
Are you? You know? I didn't tell
I have
you.
an idea.
Here's the. I'll show you real quick. I don't want you to see. Okay, yeah. It's the grade I thought it would be. All right, this is. Let's see. I don't want to break all my other toys in the process of doing this. This is something that it's one of those things that starting the year I wouldn't have even known that I wanted.
Oh, then I might be wrong.
It's the only thing in this box. This one thing right here. Again, I know this is not necessarily everybody's quote-unquote bread and butter, but it's worth a look. And I wanted to share with the people who stuck around for this long. It was I really appreciate you and Nerdy Girl both coming out tonight. It's been an amazing night. We had an awesome conversation the last time we spoke, and if anybody hasn't seen it, they should go to YouTube to watch it. But in the meantime...
Oh, I'm right. I nailed it.
Did you?
Yeah. I thought that's what it was. That's so sick.
How did you know?
I guessed on the size. And knowing what you like. That's awesome.
This is the Turtle Sewer playset. The whole damn thing. Encapsulated in a...
Oh, is that CAS?
CAS, yeah. I didn't grade this myself. I'm not fortunate to find stuff this cool out in the wild. I bought this graded, and I couldn't be happier with the purchase. I've been looking so forward to it for a long time.
That's awesome, man. Congrats. What's the grade?
This is a CAS 80.
Is that a Toys R Us sticker? What is that?
This is a Toy Special previously sold at $39.99. How awesome would it be to get this thing at $39.99?
Yeah, no kidding.
Where's the sticker on this? Oh, here we go. I'm going to show you the...
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible.
I guess I don't really want to lean it too much,
Man,
but
I'll tell you. So I think I told you a Night Ray, a GI Joe Night Ray that was an 80 plus,
yeah,
and those big pieces in acrylic are just amazing.
I really love the job that VGA does, and I'm loving the job that CAS does. To me, they're the same company, just with
Yeah,
different customer service.
yeah, yeah.
The labels are the same. The encapsulation is very, very similar. I actually like CAS better because they don't leave the gaps on the side. So if you notice that if this was in VGA,
Yeah,
there'd
there'd
be
be the
gaps and there'd
little
be
pieces that hold it.
pieces to hold it. And the problem is those pieces break over time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this doesn't have moving pieces inside, and because of that, I probably prefer it at this point. This is going to be the backdrop, basically, for every graded turtle that I get from now on.
That's really
So,
cool, man.
I was, this guy I met is really, really cool. Has some really badass stuff, and I just, I'm geeking out these days.
That's
This is, to
amazing,
me, is
man.
like, it's like games were in like 2018, like we were talking about
Right.
before. And while I still love games more, and I still love games more, I just love TMNT too also.
Yeah. Let me show you one thing too, just because it's right here. But
Please.
congrats on that.
Thank you. What's the price of turnaround time for grading toys? It's the exact same as VGA. They all go into the same queue. Unfortunately, there is no difference. Unfortunately. Ooh, what is that?
That's a barbecue, GI Joe barbecue. But it's 85 with all 85 subgrades, which
Ooh,
we talked about before. Like that would be an 85 plus or a 90 in a video game.
yeah, an 85 in an action figures, for those who don't know, is certainly like a 90 in a video game or other stuff, which is like, call it a 9.6A plus. I mean, it's a really high grade. You'd never expect to see 85 in anything. So, yeah, kudos on that, man. It's been a wild night. We've seen some crazy stuff and heard some crazy stuff. So
It's funny because I know Danielle had mentioned a few weeks ago or a couple months ago or something about grabbing a huge piece, and the first thing I thought of was Zelda TM. It's cool that you confirmed it.
yeah. So big, and a lot of people don't know, and a lot of people will know. But for the people who do know, how geeky we get about stuff like this, and for good reason. And for those who don't know, when you come back in a couple months and you've collected for longer and you realize how geeky it is, you'll geek out too. And we hope to celebrate that with you.
Yeah, for sure. And if anybody has any questions or they're thinking about jumping into games, I'm an open book. Ask questions, shoot me a DM. I'm always happy to share my knowledge and welcome new people into the hobby. I know it can be intimidating because there's a lot to learn, but like I said, I'm always happy to help people.
And 20 years of knowledge, you can't. I mean, to the fact that you help people just because you love the hobby is just an amazing tribute to how awesome this hobby is.
I think so, man. That's why I'm still here, right?
Right. I mean, it's why we do what we do, and I hope that some people gained some knowledge or at least had some fun with this stream tonight. I know I did. I very much appreciate you coming on, Tom. I mean, you were an inspiration to me in collecting and just a lot of things actually. So thank you, and thank you, Nerdy Girl, for who's not here anymore. But
yeah, thanks for having me. Let's do some stuff in person at some point too.
Yeah, I know. We need to, I've been thinking about like having our own nerdy con, not nerdy girls, but nerdy boys maybe, for a while out here in the Northeast. So we definitely should put together our own thing and do it sometime soon. But, it's great to have you on. It's great for everybody that came by. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, thank you all.
Live and watching on replay, and anything you want, come ask one of us, and we will point you in the right direction, even if we don't know the answer. That's what I always say.
Same.
I'm probably going to point you to Tom because Tom knows a lot more than me, but we'll work on it.
Hey, it's a community, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you guys, and thanks everybody. Thanks Tom, especially, and thanks Nerdy Girl, and we'll see you soon.